Good morning, children. Welcome back to my class again. We were doing manufacturing industries the previous day, and I'll continue with the same today in the class. So we were doing location of manufacturing industries. What were the factors that help any entrepreneur or any industrialist to set up any factory? The most important motive of the investor is profit maximization. So wherever the investor will get the maximum benefit, the factory will be set up exactly in that location. We have done the physical factors or the natural factors that help to take decision, and we have also done the man-made factors. The man-made factors are more, or we call them the human factors. They are much more decisive in taking the decision of setting up the factory. So wherever the maximum number of factors will be available, the investor will set up the industry at that place. So children, I had also said this, that sometimes the owner of the factory also tries to set up the factory in the area where all the facilities are already present, that is within an urban center or close to an urban center. So although the cost of production will increase in that case, but still all the facilities like your water supply, electricity supply, specialized labor, then road or transport network, banking, insurance, all these will be available. That is, the human factors will be readily available to the investor, and the investor can immediately start production without wasting any time. So when the opposite happens, that is, any industrialist first set up the industry and all the other facilities develop slowly, like the roads develop, the water supply, electricity, they come up one after another. In that case, after industrialization process, we find that urbanization process starts. This happens because the people who are employed in the industries, they start settling close to the industry in order to avoid their personal transportation cost. So as people start settling close to the industries, automatically that area develops and the urbanization process starts. And the school, colleges also starts opening because the children of the employees starts getting education, and the school starts opening, colleges starts opening, and the other services also develops as the population increases. Transport networks also develop and connects the places. Slowly what happens, when one industry is set up, there are other industries also who will be using the end product, that is the finished product of one industry, also goes to another industry for processing. Or what may happen, sometimes when one industry comes up, looking at its advantages, the other industries also come together, and slowly an agglomeration develops. Agglomeration, an industrial agglomeration or an industrial region develops. Sometimes some industries come together in any already set up urban center to get the benefit of all the advantages. So in that way, when many industries come close together, it leads to the development of an industrial region or an industrial hub. In India, children, you will find that there are many such industrial hub or industrial region which have come up in certain areas of the countries. Like for example, we have this Mumbai-Pune belt, Similarly, Bangalore-Chennai belt. In North India also we have this Delhi-Gurgaon region. Also in eastern part we have this Hooghly basin, where we find there is too much concentration of industries. When too many industries come close to any urban center and gets the benefit of urban centers, it is known as agglomeration economies. Agglomerate means coming close together. When they come close together, they get many other mutual benefits also, and it is known as agglomeration economies. It is very much helpful from monetary point of view because all the advantages are available close by and the industries come close together, and agglomeration economies greatly help to develop any industrial region or an industrial hub. During pre-independence period, children, we find a different trend because at that time agriculture was the only dominant occupation present in our country, and the main industry that was flourishing as a cottage industry was this textile industry. And at that time we find that most of the industrial centers were concentrated along the sea coast. Like we find Kolkata, Chennai, Mumbai, all of them had developed and they were centered close to the sea coast. They were operating from the sea coast because some of these goods were sent outside. Transport was also not developed at that time, so they were the main centers mainly because of overseas trade. Now these centers were supported by a rich hinterland, and this hinterland was based on agriculture. Like cotton used to be grown close to the areas surrounding Mumbai. Jute used to be grown in the entire Hooghly basin. So these products went outside with the help of the port, that is Mumbai port, Kolkata port, Chennai port. So what is a hinterland? The next question that comes up, what is an hinterland? So hinterland, children, is the remote areas which are away from the sea coast or from any river bank. So the remote areas which are producing the products, the agricultural products, they needs to be marketed, and the marketing is done through the ports. So this area which is supporting the ports, these remote areas which are growing the raw materials and supporting the ports, they are known as hinterland. Okay, so agricultural hinterland. We say agricultural hinterland because during that time agriculture was the main dominant activity and different raw materials were produced. The different agricultural products were produced which were supplied to the industries that were located in Britain or other countries. So later on, of course, when the British started constructing the railway tracks, of course the railway tracks were only set up in those areas from where they thought that they will be able to collect raw material. Later on, after independence, of course, we developed a lot. So these hinterlands, they greatly developed with the support of the transportation network that was developed during the British period. Next, children, comes the market linkage. In your book, children, you will find a diagram where they have discussed how the market is closely linked to the industry, and it's a very important feature because without demand the entire production will go to waste. So let us see how the market is closely linked to the industry. Now children, this is a diagram where it is written market linkage. So here children, you can find that it is written inputs. So what are the inputs? The raw material and or the component parts, like the factory setup is there, so that comes under input. Water supply is an input, electricity supply is an input, along with the machineries, that is also input. So raw material, machineries, water supply, electricity supply, all those are the things which we find in an industry. So the products, the things that are in the industry which are necessary for the industry are the inputs. The necessary factors of production that we have already done: land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is the person who will be investing, or the industrialist or the shareholders are all the entrepreneurs. Then the infrastructure, that is the basic facilities that is required for setting up any industry. So the inputs are first transported to the factory, and in the factory the processing of the products are done, and so we have the outputs. Whatever products is produced in the industry is the output or the products. Now all these outputs are then transported from the factory to the market. So here children, first the inputs are transported to the factory. So here in the first stage we are seeing the inputs are transported, then the finished product is produced, the finished product is then transported to the market. Now when the finished product is sold, it generates money, because we all will be buying with the help of money. So money is generated, and that money again moves into the factory for buying the raw materials or paying salaries to the labor. So in this way we can find it is like it goes on as a cycle. So if the production is not there, no money will be generated. So directly or indirectly, this factory linkage is very important with the market. So production generates money, and money help us to arrange the raw materials and to buy the other things, pay the salaries to the employees, etc. Now the next important factor, they are saying, next important feature, I will not say factor, I had already discussed this point. The key to decision of the factory location is the least cost. So this I had already said, that our cost of production must be lowest, so that there is maximum profit to the industrialist. Government policies and specialized labor. Government policies also I had said that I had given you the example of the nano factory, how it got shifted to Gujarat and the people there got employed. So the government policies must be friendly. The government must provide different kinds of tax-free options to the industrialists, so that it generates employment in the state, and specialized labor is necessary because they will help to do the work, to carry on the work very, very fast. If the work is fast, production process will be very much efficient, better quality products can be easily produced. So the ideal location of an industry should be the minimum cost. So for minimum cost, we have to consider mainly cost of obtaining raw material at the site, cost of production, cost of distribution of production, that is marketing. So the market must not be located at a very, very long distance. Then the cost of transportation will increase. So cost of transportation must be lowest, so that there is more profit from that side. Cost of production at the site must be low, So production involves everything, including the salaries paid to the laborers, and even the transportation cost, that is cost of bringing the raw material, cost of distribution of the finished product. So, and all this together influences the decision to locate any kind of industry at any place. So the ideal location of an industry must be the minimum cost. So that is very, very important for setting up any industry. Now let us come to the classification of industries. Industries are classified on different bases. We have different products. We are using different kinds of products. It can be the small needle, it can be huge machineries, or it can be the machineries that we usually use at home, like for example mixies, or any kind of products like washing machines, refrigerators, the automobiles, the medicines, the matchsticks, the scooters, the cars. Everything that we are using in our day-to-day life comes under, or I will say is produced under these industries. They are processed in these industries, and it is very important to know that what type of products are there, what type of industries are there. So these industries are classified on different bases. First, on the basis of the raw materials that is used. So here comes the first one is agro-based industries. The agro-based industries uses the raw materials from the agricultural fields. The agricultural fields, I am repeating that the farmers, they supply the raw material to the industries. So mainly the textile industry, that is totally getting its raw material from the farmers. I mean the natural fibers, not the synthetic ones. Synthetic fibers are produced in the factory with the help of chemicals. The natural, like cotton, jute, silk, they are natural fibers. Then we have different kinds of food processing industries. Like for example, we are using spices in the food. We are using oil in the food. So the oil processing industries, the food processing industries, tea, coffee, which are consumed in a day-to-day life, all these are produced in the industries, and they are processed in the industries, and after that they reach us. So the agro-based industries gets its raw material from the agricultural fields. Then comes our mineral-based industries. The mineral-based industries are getting the raw materials from the mineral mines. For example, for producing iron and steel, we are getting the raw materials like coal, iron ore, then limestone or dolomite, manganese, all this comes from the mines. Then the aluminium industry, it is getting limestone from the limestone quarries. Similarly, all the petrochemical industries, they are getting the raw material from the oil fields. So in this way, children, all those industries which gets its raw material from the mineral mines comes under mineral-based industries. The next category is the animal-based industries, where the raw material is provided by the animals. For example, we are having this dairy industry, which is totally using the products from the animals. We are having this leather industry, where again the raw material is supplied by the animals. So they are animal-based industries. And the fourth one in this category is the forest-based industries. The forest-based industries gets the raw material basically from the forest. Like for example, the paper and pulp industry, which is very basic to our day-to-day use. Every day we are using them. So the paper and pulp industry, the furniture industry, the honey products like honey, then lac, all this comes from the forest. So the forest based industries gets its supply from our natural forest. So we have different categories, children. So the first category that I discussed today was on the basis of raw materials used. Next day I will be doing the other categories on which the industries are classified. I hope, children, you all have followed this much. Thank you. Have a nice day.